All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are diving headfirst into touchdowns in
Touchdown.
the NFL.
Yeah.
Specifically,
Yes.
some of the really wild ways teams are getting into the end zone these days.
It's amazing.
It is amazing, and we've got a whole stack of highlights to break down.
Yes, we do.
So,
And it's not just what happened,
yeah,
but like the why.
the why behind the plays.
Exactly. Are we seeing like new offensive strategies? Are defenses struggling to adapt?
Totally.
Like, what does this all mean for the future of scoring in the NFL?
Exact.
So get ready to go like beyond the highlight reel.
Oh, you're right. So first impression, just from scanning these highlights,
Yeah,
the variety of touchdowns is mind-blowing.
it really is.
We've got like powerhouse running backs,
Mhm.
like Nick Chubb for the Browns,
Yeah.
but then also these incredibly agile quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson for the Colts,
Yeah.
both scoring on the ground.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Is
Yeah.
the running game making a comeback?
You know, it's not just a comeback.
Okay,
It's an evolution.
interesting.
Like take Chubb's run, for example.
Yeah.
He doesn't just like power through the line.
Right.
He's using his speed to get to the edge, almost like a wide receiver.
Wow.
That's not your grandpa's smash mouth football.
I see that.
And then you got Richardson, who's basically a running back
Right.
disguised as a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Defenses are having to account for that dual threat,
Right.
which opens up all sorts of possibilities for offensive coordinators.
So it's not just about brute force anymore. It's about speed and agility, even for the bigger guys.
Exactly. Think of it like this.
Okay.
If a defense is worried about a quarterback taking off,
Mm-hmm.
they can't just load up the box to stop the run.
Right.
It creates space for everyone, even those power backs.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the passing game?
Yeah.
We've got some pretty spectacular catches in these highlights, too.
Yes.
Like Devontae Adams for the Jets talk about defying gravity with that fingertip grab.
Adams' catch is a perfect example of what's happening at the receiver position.
Okay.
It's not just about size and strength anymore. It's about body control and hand-eye coordination.
It's unreal.
These receivers are training like Olympic gymnasts,
I believe it.
and it shows.
Yeah.
And remember not too long ago, a catch like that would have been ruled incomplete.
Oh, for sure.
The way the rules have evolved
Mhm.
has also contributed to these like highlight reel plays.
So the game is getting faster, more athletic, and the rules are reflecting that?
Exactly. It's a constant evolution with offense and defense trying to like one-up each other.
Oh, yeah.
And this brings us to a really interesting point.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Look at how the Falcons are using pressure
Mm-hmm.
to create opportunities for their receivers, like Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Interesting.
It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy,
For sure.
but it suggests a league-wide trend towards more aggressive play calling.
Hold on, aggressive on offense.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Think of it like this.
All right.
If you put pressure on the defense, by sending extra rushers, you're forcing them to make quick decisions.
Got it.
If they make the wrong one,
Yeah.
it can lead to big plays for your receivers.
Okay.
It's almost like a preemptive strike.
So instead of just reacting to what the defense does,
Right.
you're dictating the terms.
Precisely. And it goes back to what we were saying about the evolution of the game.
Yeah.
Offenses are becoming more proactive, more aggressive,
Okay.
and defenses are scrambling to keep up.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Good.
But before we move on, I have to bring up Bijan Robinson's run for the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
The guy just weaves through defender like they're standing still.
Yeah.
How do you even coach that kind of agility?
You can't coach pure talent like that.
Wait.
Robinson has that rare combination of vision,
Mm-hmm.
balance, and acceleration
Yeah.
that makes him a nightmare for defenses.
I bet.
But what's interesting is that his success also speaks to the evolution of offensive line play.
Oh, so.
They're not just maulers anymore. They're athletic enough to get out in front of these quick backs
Right.
and create running lanes in space.
So it's not just about Robinson's individual brilliance.
Right.
It's also about the team around him adapting to this new style of play.
Exactly. It's a symbiotic relationship.
I like that.
The offensive line is evolving to create opportunities for these shifty backs.
Right.
And in turn, those backs are making the line look even better.
Right.
It's a win-win.
I'm sensing a theme here. Evolution, adaptation, and a whole lot of excitement.
Yes.
But this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've barely scratched the surface.
Okay.
We haven't even touched on how defenses are trying to counter these offensive innovations or what the long-term implications might be.
Yeah.
Buckle up, because it's about to get even deeper.
Can't wait. Okay, we're back and ready to go even deeper on these touchdown highlights.
Let's do it.
In the first part, we talked about like speed and agility and aggressive play calling.
Mhm.
Now I'm curious, like what are some of the specific strategies
Yeah.
that teams are using to create these scoring opportunities?
Well, let's take a look at the play where Trey McBride scored for the Cardinals.
Okay.
Seems pretty simple on the surface.
Yeah.
Just a tight end sneaking out into the flat for an easy catch.
Right.
But look closer, and you'll notice something interesting.
Hmm.
The Cardinals put an extra lineman in the backfield,
Okay.
essentially disguising their formation.
Interesting.
This likely influenced how the defense aligned, leaving McBride wide open.
So it's not just about the play itself.
Right.
It's about setting it up, creating confusion for the defense.
Exactly. Think of it like a magician using misdirection.
Okay.
You're focused on one hand while the real magic is happening with the other.
Right.
In this case, the extra lineman is the distraction, and McBride slipping out unnoticed is the real trick.
I love that analogy.
Good.
Okay, so we've got pre-snap deception.
Mm-hmm.
What else are these offensive masterminds cooking up?
Well, one trend that's becoming increasingly popular
Yeah.
is the use of run-pass options, or RPOs.
Oh, yeah, RPOs. Everyone's talking about those.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's essentially a play
Right.
where the quarterback can decide after the snap whether to hand the ball off or throw a quick pass depending on how the defense reacts.
Okay.
We saw the Bears using this effectively with Justin Fields.
So it's having two plays in one.
Exactly.
It must be incredibly difficult for defenses to read.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It forces defenders to hesitate for a split second.
Right.
And in the NFL, a split second is all it takes to create an advantage.
For sure.
Plus, with mobile quarterbacks like Fields,
Yeah.
the RPO becomes even more dangerous.
Oh, yeah?
If the defense crashes down to stop the run,
Right.
he can simply pull the ball back and throw it over their heads.
So it's not just about the play design itself. It's also about having the right personnel to execute it.
Exactly. You need a quarterback who's comfortable making quick decisions
Yeah,
and accurate throws on the move.
for sure.
You need receivers who can create separation quickly. And you need an offensive line that can block for both the run and the pass.
It's like a perfectly synchronized dance with everyone knowing their steps and executing flawlessly.
A very chaotic, high-stakes dance.
Okay, yes.
And speaking of perfect execution, we have to talk about that touchdown by Tank Dell for the Texans.
Oh, yeah.
It was a simple slant route,
Mm-hmm.
but the timing and precision between him and C.J. Stroud
Yes.
were impeccable.
Impeccable.
That play was a thing of beauty.
It was.
But what I found interesting was that Dell was matched up against a linebacker.
Ooh.
Talk about a mismatch.
That's exactly what offensive coordinators are looking for.
Yeah.
Creating those one-on-one situations where their playmakers have a clear advantage.
Right.
In this case, Dell's speed and agility against a slower linebacker was a recipe for a touchdown.
So it's not just about having talent, it's about using that talent strategically, putting your players in positions to succeed.
Absolutely. It's like a chess game where you're constantly trying to outmaneuver your opponent.
And the best coaches are the ones who can anticipate the defense's moves and counter them effectively.
Okay, we've talked about deception RPOs and exploiting mismatches.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other offensive trends we should be paying attention to?
Well, one thing that stood out to me was the use of motion before the snap.
Okay, motion, yeah.
Teams are constantly shifting their players around, trying to get the defense to tip their hand
Okay,
and reveal their coverage.
right.
The Patriots in particular are masters of this,
Mm-hmm.
and it played a role in Mac Jones's touchdown pass to Juju Smith-Schuster.
So it's like a pre-snap poker game with each side trying to read the other's tells.
Exactly.
Oh.
And the more motion you use, the more difficult it becomes for the defense to disguise their intentions.
Right.
It forces them to communicate and adjust on the fly,
Yeah.
which can lead to breakdowns in coverage.
It's amazing how much complexity goes into these seemingly simple plays. It really is a chess match at the highest level.
And it's only getting more complex
Right.
as offenses continue to evolve.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched on the rise of mobile quarterbacks
Right.
and how that's changing the game.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson scoring on that designed run for the Colts was a prime example.
Yes.
It seems like we're seeing more and more quarterbacks who are legitimate running threats.
Absolutely. It's no longer enough to be a pocket passer.
Right.
Quarterbacks today need to be able to extend plays with their legs, pick up first downs,
Yeah,
and even run for touchdowns.
for sure.
It's adding a whole new dimension to the game.
And it must be a nightmare for defenses.
Yeah.
How do you defend a quarterback who can run like a wide receiver?
It requires a complete rethinking of defensive strategy.
I bet.
You can't just rush the passer with reckless abandon anymore, because if you miss, he's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to be more disciplined more contain-oriented,
Okay.
and you have to have defenders who are athletic enough to keep up with these quarterbacks in the open field.
It seems like the balance of power is shifting towards the offense. Are we entering a new era of high-scoring, offensive-driven football?
It's certainly trending that way,
Yeah.
and it's not just the quarterbacks.
Right.
We're seeing running backs who can catch passes like wide receivers,
Right.
tight ends who are essentially oversized wideouts,
Mm-hmm.
and offensive lines that are more athletic than ever before.
So it's a perfect storm for offensive innovation.
Exactly, and it's going to be fascinating to see how defenses adapt.
Yeah, how do they adapt?
Will they become more specialized with players focusing on specific roles like quarterback spy
Right.
or contained defender?
I could see that.
Or will they try to counter with even more aggressive schemes,
Okay.
blitzing more often to
Yeah.
try to force turnovers?
These are some really thought-provoking questions. It seems like the future of football is wide open with endless possibilities.
Absolutely. And as we analyze these touchdown highlights,
Yeah.
we're not just witnessing the evolution of the game.
Right.
We're seeing the birth of a new era in football.
Well, I'm on the edge of my seat ready to see where this evolution takes us. But before we wrap up, there's one more aspect we haven't touched on, those nail-biting late-game situations.
Ah, yes, the 2-minute drill,
Yes.
where every second counts and the pressure is at its peak.
Exactly.
Mhm.
We saw some incredible comebacks and last-minute heroics in these highlights. What's the key to success in those crucial moments?
It's a combination of factors.
Okay.
Obviously, you need talented players who can execute under pressure,
Of course.
but it also comes down to coaching strategy
Right.
and the ability to manage the clock effectively.
So talk us through the mind of a coach in those situations. What are their top priorities?
First and foremost, it's about assessing the situation quickly and accurately.
Okay.
What's the score? How much time is left on the clock? How many timeouts do they have?
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, what's their risk tolerance level?
Meaning, are they willing to gamble for a big play, or do they prefer to play it safe and try to run out the clock?
It's exactly. The decision-making process in those late-game situations can be incredibly complex, and it often comes down to a matter of inches and seconds.
And it seems like communication is key in those moments, right?
Absolutely. The coach needs to communicate clearly and effectively with the players, making sure everyone is on the same page and understands their assignments.
And it's not just about what happens on the field, it's also about managing the emotions of the players, right?
That's right. Late-game situations can be incredibly stressful, and it's the coach's job to keep the players calm, focused, and confident.
So it's a lot more than just X's and O's in those crucial moments. It's about leadership, communication, and emotional intelligence.
Well said. And those qualities can often make the difference between winning and losing.
Okay, so we've dissected these touchdown highlights, uncovered some fascinating trends,
Right.
and now it's time to look ahead.
To the future.
What does the future hold for NFL offenses?
Well,
Are we heading towards some kind of offensive revolution?
I think we're already in the midst of it.
Wow.
What's fascinating is how these trends are converging,
Okay,
creating a perfect storm for offensive innovation.
I like it.
You have quarterbacks who can run like running backs,
Right.
running backs who can catch like receivers,
Yeah.
and defenses struggling to keep up.
So paint me a picture. What does this offensive revolution look like in 5-10 years?
Okay, so imagine a world
Okay.
where the traditional positional designations become almost meaningless.
Meaningless. Wow.
A player lines up as a wide receiver,
Right.
then shifts into the backfield,
Okay.
takes a handoff,
Yeah.
and hurdles a defender for a touchdown.
Jeez.
It's positionless football,
Positionless football.
where versatility and adaptability reign supreme.
That's a game changer.
It is.
What would that mean for coaches?
Right.
Scouting?
Yeah.
For the entire way we think about the game?
It would turn everything on its head.
Really?
Coaches would need to design plays that exploit mismatches,
Okay.
not just traditional
Yeah.
strengths. Scouts wouldn't be looking for like the prototypical quarterback
Mm-hmm.
or running back.
Right.
They'd be searching for athletes who can do it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
And defenses would be scrambling to adapt.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine we'd see all sorts of new defensive schemes and strategies emerge.
Absolutely. We might see a rise in hybrid defenders,
Okay.
players who can cover a receiver one play
Right.
and blitz the quarterback the next.
Wow, that's interesting.
The chess match between offense and defense would reach a whole new level.
This raises an important question. What about the rules of the game?
Yeah.
Would the NFL need to adapt to this new style of play?
It's inevitable.
Really?
We've already seen rule changes to protect quarterbacks
Right.
who run more frequently.
Yeah.
Imagine if they implemented restrictions on defensive formations,
Okay.
limiting the number of players who can blitz
Right.
to create